And welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's Thursday afternoon video, just going to be a wee post-match review of Celtic's 2-0 friendly win over Sporting Club of Portugal in Lisbon yesterday evening. Very comfortable 2-0 win with the great bulk of the first team squad all getting a run out. 2 or 3 still yet to make their 25-26 debut, plus a wee roundup of Celtic news stories that have been cropping up over the course of Thursday, and all the news stories accurate up to around about 4 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. So, as I said, Celtic were playing yesterday evening in the extreme heat of Lisbon. Even with it being an evening kickoff, it was still apparently 30 degrees centigrade at the time of the game. Celtic put out a pretty strong starting 11. In goals was Kasper Schmeichel, playing his first game of this pre-season. Anthony Ralston at right back, as Alza Johnson is still on his holidays. Dane Murray and Liam Scales were the central defenders. Kieran Tierney at left back. In midfield, Hatate, McGregor and Nygren. Nygren taking the place of Engels at the moment in midfield. Out wide on the right, James Forrest. Out wide on the left, Yamada, and then through the middle, Adam Ida. And Celtic actually had the great majority of the best chances in the first half. Adam Ida had a couple of good chances, did Yamada. Also, Benjamin Nygren had a good chance in the first half as well, but none of the goals went in, although all three of those players did get themselves into good opportunities and good positions to score, but the final touch, the final shot wasn't quite there. And Kasper Schmeichel made a couple of saves in the first half, but Celtic tended to be the stronger team throughout that first half. Second half, to start with, Rodgers made a couple of changes. On came Johnny Kenny as Adam Ida appeared to have a slight problem with his groin at the end of the first half, and Viljami Sinisalo came in to be replacement goalkeeper for Kasper Schmeichel. Celtic off to a great start in the second half. A nice bit of midfield play, got the ball out wide to James Forrest. He put in a dangerous front post cross. Johnny Kenny made a good run and he was pulled down in the box, and Celtic were given a penalty, and Rio Hatate stepped up to take it, and not the best of penalties. The goalkeeper half saved it, but rather than the ball bouncing out, it bounced back off his back into the goal, and Rio Hatate was credited with having scored that penalty to put Celtic 1-0 up after 47 minutes. A couple more chances in the second half, Celtic failing to put away, but they were a much more dominant team. And in the 66th minute, pretty much all change. All the other 9 players who had started the game were taken off, and a variety of players brought on. And pretty much straight away, Celtic managed to clear a ball from their own box. Nice pass out to Johnny Kenny, who made a good run into the Lisbon half. Then a brilliant pass to Lech McCowan, who had made a great run from the edge of his own box. He beat a couple of players, dummied to make an initial shot, which created even more space, and then very calmly slotted the ball across the goalkeeper into the goalkeeper's left bottom corner. Celtic had a couple more chances, some nice touches and play by Marco Tilio, and some nice touches in the second half, also from Inamura, and Austin Trusty looking that bit more strong and confident in defence than Liam Scales had in the first half, and Trusty also had a chance from Arne Engels' corner, made a good header, but it was well saved by the goalkeeper. And so the game ended 2-0. Good game for Celtic. Brendan Rodgers seemed quite happy with everything. Didn't make any mention as to how serious Adam Ida's injury was. Again, haven't read anything so far today to say whether it's of any significance. And so Celtic will be going into their next friendly game, which is a home game against Newcastle on Saturday, 3 o'clock at Celtic Park. Players, I think, who deserve a bit of credit for having played well against Sporting Club de Portugal, Lisbon. I thought Benjamin Negrin had another good game in midfield, looks good and confident, good range of pass, gets himself into the box. It does look like Rodgers is looking to use him as a midfielder, although Negrin does give that versatility of being able to play out wide on the right, out wide on the left, and through the middle, either as an attacking midfielder or even as a main striker. But it does look like a midfield role is what Negrin is doing initially. Thought also Hatate had another good game. Johnny Kenny, very impressive in the second half. Lech McCowan again, some very good touches. He seems to be getting better and better. Also thought some of the subs had a good 30 odd minutes or so. Thought Marco Tilio showing improving signs down that right side. Hayato Inamura, I think, is showing good signs as a left sided defender. As I said earlier on, Austin Trusty, I think, looking more confident and more strong in defence than Liam Scales. Dane Murray doing well for a young, inexperienced player. And at the moment, I do think it could well be Carter Vickers and Trusty that starts the season with Liam Scales and Dane Murray as the backups, but we'll see how that goes. And some good game time for experienced players such as McGregor, Engels, Maeda, and James Forrest, and some early game time for both of our first and second choice goalkeepers. Main news of the day, of which there's been very little actual news, is that Luis Palma is on his way out on loan to Lech Poznan of Poland. Lech Poznan are the current Polish champions. They're going to be going into the second round of the Champions League qualifiers very soon. Not clear whether Luis Palma will be able to get out in time for those. But I would fully expect that Lech Poznan will get through to the next round, in which case Luis Palma would be available for the next qualifying round. Details are still being worked out, as is the medical. However, it's thought that Luis Palma would be going to Lech Poznan for 1 year, for the whole season in effect, and there will be a buy clause at the end. Interestingly, Celtic have set that buy clause at €4.5 million, which equates to around about £3.8 million currently, which is actually a few £100,000 more than what Celtic paid for him a couple of years ago when they brought him in from Greek football. Interesting that Celtic have put such a high buy clause for Palma. Not sure whether that means that Celtic are looking to maximise their money, or whether it's Celtic are quite keen to get Luis Palma back into the club if he does do well on loan in Poland. It does appear that Luis Palma has turned down quite a number of other clubs' offers of loans for the season and made a choice to go to Poland. Apparently, there were several clubs in the English Championship who'd made loan offers for him, some teams in Greece and in Turkey, and several Major League Soccer teams. And it's quite interesting that so many clubs appear to have been vying for getting Luis Palma on a season-long loan. So we'll see how that goes. Just waiting for that to be fully confirmed. I expect that'll go through over the next couple of days, and then I'll do a formal confirmation then. In terms of any other ins and outs, the only other apparent out is going to be Kwon, our South Korean midfielder. Brendan Rodgers confirming that Kwon is on his way out of the club. Current bidder for him appears to be Austria Vienna in Austria for a deal with around about £250,000 initially, with potentially clauses on top of that, depending on performances and future sales. And it would appear that the stumbling block for that transfer is going to be Kwon negotiating his salary, wages within the budget of Austria Vienna in the Austrian Bundesliga. No further progress as yet on the possible incoming transfer of Michel-Ange Balakwisha from Royal Antwerp or Flavio Nazino from Cercle Bruges in Belgium. Shin Yamada played his last game for Kawasaki in the Japanese Cup and yesterday, and is now on his way to Scotland. I would guess that he'll be in Glasgow Friday or the weekend, and it's expected he'll then have his medical and then be confirmed as a Celtic player, all being well, early in next week. Which then should allow him, given the fact he's been playing week in, week out throughout the Japanese J League season, he should be pretty much straight able to go into the Celtic squad for the friendlies at the end of the month and be fully ready for the start of the season at the start of August. So Celtic's next game, as I was saying a wee bit earlier on, will be against Newcastle in a friendly match this Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff at Celtic Park. It's expected that for that game, Paolo Bernardo and Cameron Carter-Vickers might well be back in the matchday squad. Uncertain as to whether Alsa Johnston will be back from Canadian international duties. And also still waiting for further details as to whether Adam Ida's groin problem that he seemed to suffer at the end of the first half against Sporting Club last night, whether that's going to be an ongoing issue. And as we finish off, just as we always do, a wee polite suggestion, encouragement from those not yet subscribed to the channel. Please do click that subscriber button, keep those numbers going up through the 1300s. And do feel free to pop your own thoughts into the comment section, possibly regarding yesterday's friendly win over Sporting Club, who you thought did well, who you think is showing some promise, and for any other Celtic issues at the moment. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.